In case y'all don't know who this is none other than Kelis. You know, she rose to prominence because of that song she did way back in the early 2000s called Milkshake. But to be honest, her real claim to fame after that was being married to Nas. And I'm just going to be completely honest. That's how her stock rose. But the reason why she's in the news right now is because she came out and she said, I don't feel like protecting the sanctity of the black man anymore. Notice she said the black man, as in any black man. It was a blanket statement. She wasn't specifying which man in particular. She just said the black man. Now, we all know that she was married to Nas. Everybody knows this. Now, I think somewhere else she mentions Pharrell, and those, as far as we know, are the only two black men that she mentions. But if she was being specific, she should have just said Nas. But we know who she was talking about. But to be honest, she might as well just came out and said all black men and just let that be that. But to be honest, no black man was asking for you to protect our sanctity, to be quite honest. And that's one thing a lot of black women have to get through their heads. A lot of the times, a lot of black men aren't asking for something like that. You volunteer to do it. Let me say that again. A lot of black men aren't asking for it. You volunteer to do it. Just like you volunteered to link up with that palm-colored white bitch back in the day with feminism. But you know what? Let me not get too deep into that. Let me go ahead and read this article. Days after his performance with Lil Nas X at the Grammys on Sunday night, Nas is back in the news following critical comments made by his ex-wife, Milkshake singer Kelis. In a new interview with The Guardian, Kelis, who was recently eliminated from The Masked Singer UK after being mistaken for the late Natalie Cole, reflects on the tumultuous relationship which began in 2002 and ended with her filing for divorce while 7 months pregnant with their son, Knight. In 2018, the singer spoke publicly for the first time about the physical abuse she endured during their marriage, which Nas has denied. He, in turn, has publicly accused her of subjecting him to very hostile behavior and verbal abuse, as well as physical violent attacks. Now, see, when he putting that out there, you'll probably have a lot of people out there that says, well, there's no way that she could possibly do that. Bullshit. You must have not seen how some of these women get down, and some of them are batshit crazy. And Kelis, in all of her talent, seems to me like a woman that will snap or pop off at the drop of a dime. The red flags were there, the 40-year-old star told the British newspaper of the marriage. I was really young and didn't know that love isn't enough. It was crazy from the start, but I think as girls were taught that's what love is. Like, you can't breathe without them. What kind of shit is that? I want to breathe. But she stayed in the marriage. That's the thing. She stayed in this marriage that she claimed she couldn't breathe in. Kelis has said in the past that Chris Brown's arrest for assaulting then-girlfriend Rihanna in March 2009, the month before she left Nas, whom she had wed in 2005, prompted her to confront the toxicity of her own relationship. So you mean to tell me it took the incident that happened with Chris Brown? And notice that she only came in from the side of Chris Brown, quote unquote, assaulting Rihanna, but not the exchange in which Rihanna did the same thing back, which also lets us know that Kelis probably in her relationship with Nas was the Rihanna. But see, that's that lack of accountability right there. She's not going to mention the role that she plays in it. I can't see this being a one-sided thing. It's deeper than what she's saying, because she's putting herself in the victim position right now. It just woke me up, she told The Guardian, of the highly publicized domestic abuse case. Being pregnant also spurred her to take action. I thought, I can endure a lot, but I'm not prepared to bring someone else into this, she added, so I'm done. Things remain acrimonious. Kelis, who has since remarried and given birth to a second son, also disputed Nas's claims that she's keeping Knight from him. That's the part that I was thinking about. It was a big issue that he's trying to get visitation rights for his son, and that she's not allowing it to happen. This is how a lot of that baby mama drama really kicks off and carries over for years. It says, any rational person will look at the situation and say to him, well, if you want to see your child, you actually have to show up, she responded. So now she's putting Nas in a position where it's making it seem like he's just being an absentee father and he just could care less about his son. My kid is a really happy child because I don't tell him his father says tell him when his father is going to come and doesn't show up. Kelis is marking the 20th anniversary of her debut album Kaleidoscope, also addressed her falling out with Pharrell, who produced her early work alongside Neptunes partner Chad Hugo. I thought it was a beautiful and pure creative safe space she set up for work with the Neptunes, but it ended up not being that at all. She told the paper that she was blatantly lied to and tricked into signing a contract that prevented her from making money from the sales of her first 2 albums. That's why you have to read your contracts, people. You have, and if you don't want to read it, have a lawyer there to read it for you. That's what their job is. Their argument is, well, you signed it, she said of Pharrell and Hugo, and did not comment on her claims. I'm like, yeah, I signed what I was told, and I was too young and stupid to double check it. Well, at least she is accountable about that. Kelis added that the producing duo seemed really offending when she saw new collaborators for her 3rd album. She also recounted a moment from a few years ago where she crossed paths with Pharrell at an event where he performed. And he did that thing to me that he's notorious for, which is making a nod from the stage to someone in the audience so it seems like there's mutual respect, when in reality, she recalled laughing. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to yell back. You stole all my publishing, so you end up nodding back and everyone thinks everything is great, like whatever. When asked if she would work with the Happy Star again, she responded, at this point, there's having faith and there's also just stupidity. She added, I'm a very private person, and whether it's the stuff with the Neptunes and being assaulted from a business perspective to then being assaulted in the home, I fought so hard to have my own voice. Even with the umbrella of these men looming over what I was trying to do, I'm not broken, but I don't feel like protecting the sanctity of the black man anymore. Now, from what I'm hearing, that Chad Hugo person is Asian. The one who was working with Pharrell, who apparently did her dirty with her publishing and her contract. But notice she only went after Pharrell in that situation. This lets me know what type of person Kelis is. Now, I don't know what her relationship status is now. It said that she's having, or she's had her 2nd child, or she's pregnant. I don't know what that, what it is. I can't remember exactly what I read right here in this article. But she literally has it out, apparently, for black men. She has it out for Nas and Pharrell. But she really let it know with the Pharrell situation, because it was 2 people mentioned here. Pharrell, of course, we know is black, but that Chad Hugo, I believe, is Asian. But she says she does not feel like protecting the sanctity of the black man anymore. Well, Kelis, none of us asked you to protect our sanctity from the get-go. Like I said in the beginning, you volunteered to do that. You volunteered. And you didn't have to sign a contract to do that because you volunteered. I don't know, like, what it is. I feel like she just wasted her time and she wasted her breath with. I'm going to see what some of these comments are saying. Someone said, in the entertainment industry, it's been told time and time again to read your contract and negotiate before you sign. Reading is fundamental. Can't boo-hoo if you didn't take the time to read what you signed. If a person is pushing you to sign papers, you should at least read the contracts, because it's not beneficial and you can at least know what you signed right away. Facts. I agree with that. Like I said, you always read your contracts frontwards and backwards. That's why you always have someone there to read it. So that whole thing with Pharrell and this Chad Hugo, specifically with Pharrell, that's her own dumbass fault. And that's why I'm glad she at least admitted that she was young and dumb for actually doing that. But that's her fault. That's not Pharrell's fault. That's not Chad Hugo's fault. That is her fault. Like I said, she should have had a lawyer or some kind of an attorney there with her to read the entire contract and not just sign anything. That's what happened with TLC back in the early 90s. And that's how they ended up going bankrupt after releasing their biggest album, which was Crazy Sexy Cool. Let me see what else this say. This says, 1, not a private person. 2, never really wanted to be married. The only thing trend thing, like everything's getting tattoos, it is everyone else's fault. 4, grow up. Well, this person clearly is trolling because she's actually is married to somebody else, but okay. She says, no man is perfect regardless of race, but don't judge us like we are all bad. Her son, Knight, is a black male. Let's see how he will grow up to be and how he conducts business and treat his lady. And will she not protect his sanctity for bad choices he will make in the future? That is a fact. She does have a black son with Nas. And for her, I think that's what makes this whole situation that bad, is that she has a black son and she's saying this. But it's wild. Let me see what else are they. When people are mentioning about her being a private person, yeah, I don't think she's not as private as she thinks. Let's see what else here. I'm still reading what the comments are saying. But see, okay, basically, the way that she's coming at this. Like, I'm sorry for the pauses in between this because I was reading through some of the comments. She literally put out this blanket statement to make it seem like only black men have done her wrong. But like I said, she slipped up with the whole Chad Hugo Pharrell thing. That's what she slipped up at right there. Because those contracts were given to her by those two men in particular, because she mentioned those two names. But this is just basically how she feels. And unfortunately, many others like her feel the exact same way. Remember the video I did about Jodie Turner-Smith saying that it was black people that told, or black men in particular, that told her or made her feel like she was unpretty or not beautiful, and the first time she ever heard it was from a white guy? Kelis is falling into that same category because it's simple for them to do. It's too easy. But what it also does is put out a blanket statement that black men just inherently mistreat black women on a collective, and that everyone else treats them like princesses and queens and whatnot when they put stuff out there like that. But they won't dare talk about when Chad goes up beside their head and do something else. Look no further than the DeBarge's father, French man. He abused their mother and sexually abused his kids, which is why many of them turned out the way that they did and ended up on drugs. And some of them, of course, you know, died because of it. But it is what it is. I'm gonna leave it up to y'all because I'm curious to know what y'all have to say about this particular subject that not only is limited to Kelis, but a lot of people in general love to put something out there like this. But like I said, Kelis, we didn't ask for you to protect our sanctity. I didn't even know she was, but I guess. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Follow me on Twitter. Have your notifications turned on, and I will talk to you in the next one.